Training vlog number 3. I thought I'd start this vlog and talk a little bit about my current block of training and my current training goals. So I've not really talked about that in the last couple of videos and thought that would be a good place to start. I was lucky enough to be a student of Charles Poliquin, and one of his many principles was always begin with the end in mind. So my question to you is, what are you training for? And does your training program align with your goals? And what is the end destination? How do you plan to get there? I think these are questions that a lot of people don't ask, and a lot of us are training with the mistake of not setting specific training goals. Top achievers think big. However, there is a key difference between achievers and dreamers. If you're not setting specific goals, how can you measure if you're moving closer towards your goals or further away? And I think a lot of people fail to set a measurement, set a timeline, attach an emotion to those goals, and they're missing one of the key tools that we can use to help us stay on track and progress towards our health and fitness goals. I think we also can have a mistake of having too many training goals. I've made that mistake in the past where I've been trying to train too many things at once. Want a front lever, want my pancake, want my middle splits, want a one arm chin, want a handstand push-up. The list goes on and on. And if you're trying to be the generalist and trying to be good at everything, you'll generally probably be good at nothing in particular. So by focusing on a small number of goals, maybe 3 or 4 goals, you're going to dedicate more time to that and you're going to see better progress. Once you accomplish those goals, then you can move down your priorities of goals and try to set yourself some new goals to aim for. But don't try to train everything at once is, I suppose, a tip that I would like to hand out today. I also think it's important to have short-term goals. So we're good at sort of setting those goals that are off in the distance. By the end of the year, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But we don't sort of bring the goals in and look at, okay, what do I need to accomplish in the next 6 months? What do I need to accomplish in the next 3 months? What do I need to accomplish in the next 4 weeks? What do I need to accomplish this week? By sort of having short-term goals, we keep motivation high. We've just defined some milestones or some points of success that we can aim for. And once we hit those points of success, then we want to be able to celebrate them and reward ourselves for achieving that goal. This is just a great way to keep our motivation high. This week I put up a blog post on the Sustainable Training website, and it's called Goal Setting Begins with the End in Mind. I'll put the link under the YouTube video, and I recommend you have a read. So anyway, back to my current goals in my 4 days of training that I'm currently doing right now. I'm living on the road, so trying to space out training with a little bit of work-life balance, getting into nature, all those sort of things, and obviously having recovery days. So my 4 days are, I've had the bent arm strength day, which I've already talked about, but I'm aiming for the handstand push-up and the single arm chin-up. And that's something that's a long-term goal, but I've got short-term goals that I'm currently working on with that day. I have a handstand and mobility day 1, and in that program I'm working towards my middle splits and I'm practicing my straddle handstand, which is getting a lot better than what it has been thanks to the improvements in mobility. I have a lower body day. Big goals in there are the Nordic Curl. I'm using some split squats and I'm also doing some back bends. I'll talk a little bit more about those later in this post. And day 4 again is a handstand and mobility day. So it's a second handstand and mobility day. And in that one, I'm working towards a press handstand with straight legs. I can do the press handstand, but my legs are not straight in that bottom portion. I'm trying to work on the Gymnastics Pancake, which will help with that limitation. And I'm trying to work on core compression as well. More is definitely not better. So you can only sort of think about training what you can recover from. If your body's not fully recovering, then you're training in a fatigue state and you're not benefiting from the training stimulus. If anything, you're probably going to get to a plateau sooner, or you might even regress in terms of your strength and performance. So I think a lot of us can overtrain and think that we need to do more, especially in this modern society, but sometimes less is more, and being able to dedicate high levels of strength and good levels of focus to the days that you are training is going to see you progress a lot faster than if you're constantly training in a fatigue state. If you're making progress, things are obviously going well. If you stop making progress, then you need to stop and look at the training program and think about the lifestyle factors around that. The 5 pillars of sustainable health being sleep, stress management, diet, social connection, and training. So, all of these support each other, and you can't expect to continue to make progress if you're not keeping all of these other lifestyle elements in check. So it's something to consider in terms of your progress with your training. I want to talk a little bit about the lower body day and some of the movements that I'm doing. So you might think, how does this lower body day support my goals and what I'm aiming for? So I'm working some front rack split squats, and the main purpose of this is to really sort of target structural balance, strength between the left and the right leg. But also I want to work the VMO and the gracilis muscle, which are two muscles that cross the medial aspect of the knee. And I want to make sure that they're nice and strong. It's going to make strong knees and stable knees. But also when we start to work on the middle splits and we start to work on the pancake, we put a lot of pressure on that medial knee. So if those muscles and ligaments that cross the knee are not strong, the chances of injury are going to increase. So I'm using that sort of split squat to target those muscles and hopefully get them strong enough so that when I'm doing the mobility days, I can also start to stretch and lengthen the muscles and connective tissue that's there without an injury occurring. The Nordic Curl, a super difficult and challenging hamstring exercise, also targets the glutes, pretty much the whole posterior chain. There's a lot of great research out there about being able to perform that movement strict, and the limitation you have of tearing a hamstring or injuring a hamstring if you can perform that exercise is quite low. We're doing a lot of stretching and of the hamstrings and the calves, and we're trying to lengthen a lot in the pancake, in the pike, in a lot of our gymnastics movements. So I think it's very important to make sure we keep the hamstrings strong as well. Again, it's about injury prevention. It's something that I definitely need to work on some more, and it's just a movement that I enjoy. I also train some sprinters, and I think it's something that I want to work them up to. So it's part of me practicing what I preach and making sure I understand the progressions there and how to progress that movement. So it's a little bit my own goal, but then it's also me as a coach thinking about the clients that I'm training and how I can best help them. I'm working a natural leg extension arched. So this is part of the back bend stuff that I've been playing with. So the natural leg extension is to work the quads. It's also sort of like a great stretch for the quads and the anterior chain, but it's also a good strengthening exercise. Performing it with an arch back, the idea is to get the head to touch the floor and be able to pull back out of that. So at the moment I'm doing repetitions here. It's a really good opener for that anterior chain, like I sort of said. So it's just balancing out, a lot of the flexion and stuff I'm doing. It's getting the spine a lot more mobile, which is going to help with my handstands, especially through the thoracic spine. Good to open up those shoulders. So it's another movement that I'm working on and think that it will be useful for a number of my clients, including the sprinters again. So I hope you can see that my leg day sort of supports my mobility goals, and it's about building the strength in the connective tissue and muscles there, and just making sure the body's got the resilience to deal with the stretching goals and the mobility goals that I have got. So that's a good overview of my current training program, my goals, and where I'm trying to head with this current training program, and a little bit on my legs day. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.